What's up? Happy Monday, everybody. This is episode 3. Welcome back. I'm your podcaster, Malcolm Tyler. Episode 3. Republicans and Democrats have a lot in common. Just want to get into this real quick. Make it into like a in-depth episode, and actually two parts. First part is what everybody has in common as Americans, and then get into like what I think politically. I'm actually not political, but I do have excuse me, political opinions and whatnot. I've actually never met anybody with the same political beliefs as me, but more similar kind of beliefs. So what I think is like Americans, I mean Republicans and Democrats are both suffering. So what is suffering? It's basically thinking. You can't quit thinking. You're afflicted all day. As soon as you wake up, you start thinking, and then you can't even sleep that well because of too much thinking. So um, it has to do with the natural process of your mind. It's naturally going to want to think. And what wants to think is your ego. So I'm talking about the egos of Republicans and Democrats. So it's a lot of afflictions and political issues, and you'll never have what you want. Like let's say Joe Biden won 2 years ago, and we've been going through this. So even when he won, Democrats were still not happy. Like you're like, oh, it's good that he won, but it still wasn't good enough. You'll never have enough. It's like it's a never-ending cycle of greed, and greed is natural. Like everybody has it, but if you can reduce your greed and lower it in your anger, then the happier you'll be, and the more liberated you'll be. So this stuff's been on my mind at work lately, and honestly, I don't want it to be on my mind, but it's maybe it had to do with the voter registration coming in the mail, and I just threw it away, and I mean I quit voting. So anyway, seems like everybody wants to be comfortable and be like cozy in the house and inside their house on Christmas or something. Everybody wants the same kind of thing, but then they think that they're so different. Like United States of America, what the hell is that? We're not united. We're not the United States of America. We're more. They called it the divided states. So California would be like different from Texas, different from New York or Minnesota, Florida, South Carolina, stuff like that. So I've actually haven't been to all 50 states, but I think I've been to at least 25 states. Everybody it seems like I mean I have an attachment to comfort as well, but people who can't find an agreement and compromise, so then it's off balance. So the world is off balance. So what I'm saying is like this causes anxiety. So social media causes anxiety, like Facebook, um, Instagram. You're putting thoughts into your head all day about what people do, what people think, and then the thoughts increase the anxiety and everything. So that's where I'm coming from. So that actually causes mental illnesses and everything, and illnesses in your body. And then people have kids and they manipulate their children into what they should believe and who they should vote for. Like my mom would even call me up and say, "You need to vote for Joe Biden." I'm like, man, you don't ever call me up and tell me who to vote for. You vote for who I want. And I think there should be a mutual respect with everybody's decision of who they vote for. So when I had Facebook, I used to one time I vented on there about how confused I was politically and what I was gonna do, or not even what I was gonna do, but just the confusion. And then somebody actually took time the other day and say, hey Malcolm, you can vote for whoever you want to vote for, and you don't have to like, owe an explanation to anybody. So shout out to that woman that took the time out of her day to say that. She didn't have to do that. So the way I see it is like I can sense a it's like heavy kind of energy with both sides both sides of the people, if it's for Democrats or Republicans, but then they're divided. But then the common energy that I sense is like this heaviness of big problems weighing down on them, and then they can't like let go of these problems and compromise to have like for some kind of agreement. So I know that's been like it's been an issue for quite some time. And back in the day, in the 1800s, it was like you're a federalist. Like George Washington was a federalist, so he would own slaves. So then think so Republicans would be like associated. Republicans came after that, after being a federalist. So then that was associated with that. So it would be more like you couldn't be a black Republican. You know what I mean? So now you have like all this different stuff going on, like different races, like Latinos for Trump, and then even you can even find like transgender Republicans. So it's a confusing thing for a lot of people. And I even knew a transgender Republican, or actually a Trump fan, that ended up dying in the hospital in Hollywood. And then we jammed with them in Hollywood in a band a couple years ago before the 2020 COVID hit. So I know this is a controversial kind of subject, so I just want to get out of my system because there's the podcast and everything, and I don't really even talk to anybody about it. Maybe it had to do with people not hearing me out, because we would talk. I don't like hearing like people talk over each other, and then plus I was the one that kind of wanted to unite everybody, and why can't we all just get along, and everybody, like, I hate to see my friends like wouldn't be friends with somebody because of what they believed in, and not with religion, but with politics and everything. So even one case, like I knew somebody that was he wouldn't be Christian, and then someone wouldn't want to be his friend because he was an atheist. He said, "Well, we can't be friends anymore because I'm a Christian boy, and you're an atheist, and I can't fuck with you." That was were his words. So, and then I didn't want to lose friends over my unique political beliefs, because I voted for the Independent Party because I would always like vote for some weird person nobody's ever heard of. And then I was talking about going in there and like write my name in blood, like when with an anarchy, putting an anarchy sign on the ballot and being punk rock, and I'll write my name in blood. And then some I think one of my homegirls said, "Yeah, that sounds like something you would do, right?" So it feels good to vent right now and get out of my system, and I think that's the point of like a lot of artistic expression. But the thing with music is, like, let's say you're a guitarist in a band, and then it's like, hey, this guitar riff is about what I'm going through, but to express yourself like in the written word and write like an essay about what you're going through is different from the spoken word. Like podcast is more of like a spoken word kind of expression. So this is like getting this out of my system into like more of a spoken word to a podcast format. So or maybe you can relate to it too. I don't know, because everybody has a certain level of an ego and wanting what they want. So then they want to see a female president or a black president or a Latino president. You know, you want to see like a reflection of what you're about is leadership. There's probably a certain amount of time before there's gonna be like a trans woman president or an alien president that's coming probably. You know, or disability. People are talking about Asperger's, or autistic president, or you want to see like a gay president. You know, that's coming probably pretty soon, maybe in 10 years. But don't listen to me, like I'm not predicting the future, but that's the kind of the direction where I see things are coming from. So I think people in general are sheep, and then they like to follow, and then they think in herds, and then they don't really want to be different, like people in general. And I think a lot of people are stupid too. But I think my problem is you have to endure stupid people. So if life is about, like, to me, life is suffering and endurance. So you have to endure and be patient with things like small talk used to piss me off, and then stupid people and crowds of people are waiting in line with people, and then they have the same reaction to different things. So that's really not that's really like my problem, not the people. So I mean, it's all process, and you have to work on yourself, and you can't like blame the president or blame society. I mean, all the afflictions are internal. So right by now, I want to go into my personal political beliefs. So if you know, kind of have like a family history of some political figures. Like my uncle was in the House of South Carolina House of Representatives, and my second cousin was the senator of Georgia, state of Georgia, and actually worked with George Bush. But I never met the cousin. Of course, I grew up with the uncle when I was a kid, and then my granddad was president of racetrack. So basically, like my dad's side of the family was Republican, and my mom's side of the family was Democrat. So my grandma on my mom's side of the family, she was a big Hillary Clinton fan. You don't want to mess with her when it comes to like Hillary Clinton. She was the biggest fan. She said that she was the smartest woman in the world, and she read like 10 of her books and whatnot. So I think with most people, your family background has an influence on who you vote for personally. And with me, I kind of like to be the oddball. So like I like to be different. Sometimes I go out of my way to be different on purpose, and or it's like a natural kind of tendency. My political science professor said, "Well, what does that make you, like a libertarian?" And I can't call myself libertarian, even though I read Ron Paul's book and I voted for Ron Paul. Like not when Obama ran for president, I didn't vote. I didn't vote at all. And then here's my voting history. Like I didn't vote, or when I was 18, I wasn't like excited about going to vote. I was more excited about going to get the porno magazine to vote, to buy the adult magazines and videotapes, VHS tapes, and the fact that I could move away from my mom and take the Greyhound bus, and you're 18, you can do what you want. And then I went to jail when I was 18 for the first time and never went back to jail, but that was for something stupid. So anyway, voted for when it was time to vote. It was actually George Bush and John Kerry, and then the Katrina, Hurricane Katrina or something, that was going on, and I think I didn't vote. And then it was Obama, and people wouldn't shut up about that. I didn't vote. But then the next time I had a girlfriend, and she said, "You should vote." And she was kind of getting on my case, and I could see her side of it too. And then I voted for Ron Paul, and I kind of got into that. And then here comes like it was Obama versus Trump, and I didn't vote for wait a minute. No, I voted for no, it wasn't even him. It was like Hillary Clinton and Trump, and I voted for Gary Johnson, and then I voted for Trump, and then I'll get into that too. So, and then after that, it's time to vote again, and then I'm gonna join the I don't care, I'm not gonna vote. So then, my problem was I wanted to unite people and bring everybody together, and I didn't want to see like all my friends getting so pissed off, and didn't want to lose friends. But here's the thing: is like here's Donald Trump, and it was like somebody different, and then it wasn't like George Bush and some old guy up on stage. He actually had like all this screwed up stuff going on, and was kind of like being like the bad guy in a movie or something. Like I would watch like Joe Pesci, and I would like the bad guy in the movie. So what that would kind of appeal to me when he came out. But then I didn't like it, like way anybody that's president, they start talking all slow so old people can catch up to him or whatever. So then I liked watching the old interviews of him in the 80s when he was talking about real estate and whatever, because I got into studying money and like investing and stocks and stuff like that. And I started taking a real estate class, but then I realized it wasn't for me after a while. And then I just worked, but I could see the different side to it. Like the stuff they don't teach about in school is the taxes work different for if you have your own business or a small business, and then if you're an employee, and then if you're an investor, you pay 0% in taxes, and then if you're a big business like Jeff Bezos, you pay like very low taxes. So then it's basically like this. It's like when you're an employee, you're like a slave to your job and you work for a job. And when you're a small business guy, you own a job. And then when you're an investor, your money works for you. And when you're a big business guy, your other people work for you. And I didn't make that up. That was from Robert Kiyosaki. So then Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump, they both wrote a book together, and it was called like "Why We Want You to Be Rich" or whatever, something stupid like that. But then people said Donald Trump was racist when he was out for running for president. I was like, how's he racist, man? Because he wrote a book with the Japanese guy Robert Kiyosaki, and then he had like Kanye West in the White House and whatever hanging out. So the way I saw it is like he's just as racist as I am or anybody else is. You know, you have to look at yourself. So, and talk about being sexist and stuff. Like, I mean, if you saw the stuff I did in the 90s and grabbing girls' asses in high school and whatever, and now I'm like reform myself or what, like, everybody's got some kind of part of themselves that they don't like, and you can kind of expose that. So the way they treated him in the media was crazy. You know, we were just, I mean, and LA was like such a tough place to live too with when Donald Trump was president, because of the whole vibe here, like the heavy negative energy that I would feel. And then but the good thing about that is because of that negative energy of everybody like that was against him, that made me want to like go into like serious meditation and a whole journey of meditation. So that was very important for me. And I mean, so the reason I got into meditation was because of like having anxiety from and a lot of negative stuff building up, and then that's just kind of, it happened like a natural process. So I got a good friend of mine he had like his own tattoo shop in Culver City, and then he did a few of my tattoos and moved to Hawaii. So when Donald Trump won, it was like I had a roommate, and then she was the one that broke the news to me. She's like, Trump won. We are so fucked. We're fucked. And I'm like, oh, he won. Oh, okay, and whatever. And then I went to the tattoo shop and I said, hey, you want to make America great again? And then he's like, oh, what's up, fool? Yeah, I just want some crazy motherfucker to win so he can just like start deporting people and everybody's gonna get a damn job, man, because all these Muslims are fucking this like LA up. And I mean, I'd like just to listen to what he had to say, because it was out there, and it was so different from what everybody in LA was talking about, because all these posters everywhere, it's more of like it's so like hippie out here with all this like, well, we believe in love is love and kindness is everything, and science is real, and like this that poster that I deliver, these houses I deliver to, like love is love, and well, Trump is Trump, you know. So but yeah, I joined the apathetic vote right now. That's just where I'm at right now, because of the lying. Because if you think about me, I caught Trump lying, and I caught what's his name, Joe Biden lying too, because Biden, he's only out for himself too. And the thing that people don't talk about is Joe Biden's rich, man. I saw his house in Delaware, and that's all for one person, and then that's like his house has its own zip code. So Joe Biden's rich. I just said it. So the thing is, he was lying. He was talking about the drilling oil in Alaska, and I mean that's what for his own benefit, you know. So they're out to benefit themselves, not you. And if you think about it, everybody's out to benefit themselves. So you need to have like more of a balance. Like, yeah, benefit myself, but benefit others too, and then live by that and practice what you preach. So yeah, it was more of like watching the bad guy in the movies. That's gonna appeal to the demonic nature in people, and then everybody also has a good nature. Like no matter what kind of offense and what kind of crime you commit, there's some kind of good nature inside of you. It's just like you have a heart, but then there's a distortion pedal or something. There's like heavy distortion covering it up, and then you just need to uncloud that to get back to your true nature. and I'm working on that myself, and I think everybody should work on that. Think think it'd probably be worse if I were president because I'd be so like by the book and hardcore about different things. Like, I mean, I couldn't call myself a libertarian because I don't think all drugs should be legalized. So I think smoking marijuana should be illegal, and you should go to jail for smoking marijuana, and like you should be punished hard for that, no matter what state you're in. Not like a state thing. In South Carolina, it used to be like if you get caught for smoking weed, you would go to jail for simple possession of marijuana, and then you would be in this stupid newspaper, and your name would say that. And, but where was I again? It was actually like how I mean, not how I do things, but like I think like I mean, here's my thing, man. I was like, I used to say like I'm my own president, you know, like when it was time to vote for either Trump or Hillary, like I'm my own president. So like I never had only had like health insurance one time, and then that was the thing, like Obamacare or whatever. We're gonna penalize you if you don't have it, and I'm like, well, hell, be healthy and then take care of yourself, and then don't worry about the damn health insurance and being on welfare and everything like that. And I said something about all welfare cases, and my roommate, she just got pissed, and she's like, the whole thing's stupid, okay? Like this is she was just like, I didn't want to see people in that kind of like turmoil and everything. But at the same time, like people aren't that smart, and then they can't take care of themselves and be like that self-reliant, and so then they have to be pissed off at the government or rely on the government. I mean, if it weren't like the case, then you'd see everybody like walking around like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. So, and the thing about like Hollywood used to like Schwarzenegger in the '80s, and then after that, he was talking about some Republican shit that you didn't want to hear, and then everybody turned against him. So it's like, I don't want the governor or whatever. So he was listening to TV, and I think it was like Nixon or something back in the day, and he was talking about like depend on yourself, and get the government off my back, and strengthen the military. And I can't do an impression of him, but he was like, "Who is that? That's like the party. That's a party I want to be in." But I used to have like a stigma against like the Republican Party because like my mom really raised me to be Democrat. Like she was like, you need to vote for Joe Biden, you need to vote for Hillary, and this and that. But at the same time, where I was coming from was like the more independent side. So now you could say I'm like apathetic or I'm like center, right center. But then I never thought of myself as a Democrat, to be honest with you, because it's kind of like what everybody wanted to do. Like this is for the people, and this is what the people want to do. And at the same time, I was a misanthrope, and like I hate people. So then when Trump came out, it was like Trump hates everybody, but people didn't say that in words. But it kind of is like it takes one to know one. So it's like I'm a misanthrope and I hate everybody, and then here's this rich guy that hates everybody, and then that somehow appealed to me. But where I'm coming from now is like I don't hate everybody. I need to like work on myself, and like I'm not saying I'm not using the word love, like all this like kindness and love, but I'm just talking about like endurance, and you have to endure this world because this world is like it's a tough place. It's getting tougher than it was yesterday. Like tomorrow is a bigger challenge than it was yesterday. And the problem with parents now is they don't raise their children to be stronger and stronger. Instead, it's more of like, I want to provide for you like what I didn't have and make life easy for you. But does that like help the child? No, I think it hurts the child. So rather than like spoil the kids and then make it so like, it'll be okay. Oh, poor baby. I'm gonna give you everything that I didn't have. It needs to be like not brutal, like won't you get a fucking job. It needs to have like a balance, and you be like a more strict kind of thing. But don't listen to me because I don't have kids. But if I did, then that's how it would be. Does everybody kind of understand where I'm coming from? I know I'm talking about like a lot of controversial stuff at once, and it's overwhelming. But think of it on my side is like this helps me get this out of my head, because I don't know why the hell this is stuck in my head for like 3 days at work when I'm supposed to be focusing, like work's number one. but these thoughts would like come into my mind, and I don't know if like a demon put them in there, but this helps me because it gets it out of my mind and onto the podcast. So I'm not apologizing. I'm just like explaining to you where I'm coming from. So, what do we have next? Oh yeah, another thing about see, I'm from South Carolina, so the thing that kind of gets me is when Trump came out, he had like a whole redneck kind of following and everything. Not like everybody's a redneck in South Carolina, but they are there, you know. So I never heard anybody say like, "Oh, I ain't voting for a fucking Yankee because he's from New York." Because he kind of like had this whole redneck culture or something, talking about the guns and America great. But people don't know that America was named after Amerigo Vespucci, and I never heard anybody say that name. And then it kind of like it pissed me off, to be honest with you, because here's somebody I know from South Carolina that's never even been out of his state and doesn't even know, and he's talking about America, and I haven't even been in all the states either, but he doesn't even know who Amerigo Vespucci is. I mean, get with the program, you know. So I was watching this Greensboro rally Trump video last night, and people were actually like, I mean, it's not the same as when he came out. It was different. It was like, what's he gonna do? And he's kind of unpredictable, and he's a confusing all orange person. And now it's more of he's predictable, and he's just saying stuff about, you know, business and making things how they should be and everything, and conservative things. And if you think about it, it's like not too much different than what George Bush was talking about, like in the 90s or something. I'm talking about the old school George Bush, you know, get a job and we're gonna bring it back to where it's supposed to be. But the thing is, like, we're doing so great with the economy. You can disagree with me, but I think the economy was going like pretty badass, like when Trump was president. But then after that, it was like, here's this COVID thing going on, and then since then I've been working at Amazon, just busting my ass. But at the same time, like, Trump's never worked a day in his life. He's just a rich kid that like inherited the millions of dollars, and then worked with that and get the golf course and the Trump Tower and all the real estate. And then, and even in, like, I went to Canada and I saw some Trump Tower over there, and then I went to Las Vegas. Like, he's everywhere, man. But when I called him lying, it was more of like, it was an article in the Los Angeles Times newspaper talking about what he said to his followers on Twitter, and it was different than what was really going on, like real estate, Trump real estate in Russia. And then he went on Twitter and he says, "I have no business dealing in Russia." And then I called him straight up lying. So then that's when I lost all the respect. Or not, I'm not saying respect, but what's the word? Went against him, you know. So, but I can see where different perspectives of people are coming from. Like, I mean, there's a lot of democratic views that I think make a lot of sense. And I mean, talking about like the rights of people and everything. I mean, it's more complex issues than I'd probably have to have like a guest on here or something, rather than just listen to me, because what do I know, you know? And then plus, who cares what the hell I think? So, but people actually, a lot of people ask me like, what do I think politically? And I think it's good to have like an in-depth conversation. And so somebody said something interesting when I was working at Coca-Cola. He said, "Hey, are you like in the center or something, because you're not too conservative, and you're not too democratic or something." And I was like, yeah, that's pretty interesting what he said. But the whole thing is, he kind of pissed me off about some the racist stuff with Trump, because like I never heard him say anything racist. If you actually look up the videos of him, because it used to be really hard to just find videos of interviews with him, and it was more of people making videos and like taking it out of context and editing the videos and manipulating people, rather than like what he actually said. And I'd be pissed if somebody did that to me, but I'm not famous, so who cares, you know? So even like Raekwon the Chef, like Raekwon from Wu-Tang Clan, said on his album, you know, it was on on the track, the incarcerated Scarfaces. He was like, guess who's the Black Trump? And when he said that, that was more of like, I want to be rich, or I am rich. And he was like, he was like a platinum artist at the time. Guess who's the Black Trump? And it wasn't like I'm a fucking asshole or anything. So then, I mean, even when he came out with like, Trump came out with this thing to grab her by the pussy, and the media exposed it and everything. And then after that, it was the Me Too movement. So then the Pound Me Too movement came after him saying that, like, that's how you do it. Grab her by the pussy. And he was saying it in the limousine to that kid, and the kid got fired. And then Trump had to apologize, whatever. So then that was another thing that people don't talk about anymore. But yeah, I just remember that was a big deal. And then there was this kid that worked at Amazon with me at in Chatsworth. And then I don't know what we were talking about, but he was like, oh yeah, he was talking about like when Trump got COVID. He's like, no man, I like Trump. I wanted him to win. And I was like, what, you did? And then he said, yeah, I used to work at Lyft, and then people would get in the Lyft car and just talking mad shit about him. And then I was like, well, I voted for him, because then they asked me. He said, yeah, I'm an undercover brother. He said, I'm an undercover brother. I was like, yeah, there's a bunch of us. We just don't say anything, because then we have to explain things to people, and it turns into like a long conversation and stuff, And then the whole thing about the wall, like build the wall, like I didn't care about that when it came out. I mean, I like Mexicans, and then I'm in Los Angeles, and LA used to be Mexico, and then you have the whole annexation of Texas, and then the whole like Mexico getting ripped off, because I think they bought Mexico for like $15,000 back in the day. We learned that in history class. So I think it was like $14,000. And then one thing that I hate about Trump is that he never came to LA when he was president. Like, so I think Trump is a pussy because he didn't come to LA. You know what I mean? So I think he came here like one or two times in those 4 years, those 4 brutal years it was to live here, because LA in general was like against Trump. But then I used to hang out with this cult. I was in like a cult of like Republican yoga people or something, like Republican yogis, and then they would talk a lot of shit like, I'm gonna move to Texas or this and that, and it was just confusing, because I thought it like, if you're into music or if you're into like yoga, then you would be like a Democrat. But it was just a confusing kind of time and everything. And then when the COVID stuff came out, we were like, we're the yoga anti-mask group. So then they would do yoga in Hollywood like every day at 8 o'clock in the morning without the mask. And then there were the rebels, and I thought that was cool for a while until that didn't work out after a while, as far as hanging out with them. And then I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say. And this episode is not gonna last an hour or anything. That's all I got for now. Oh yeah, and then Trump's talking about deporting everybody or deporting people, and then I heard that Obama deported more people than Trump. What about that? What else? But yeah, I don't care, man. I mean, I'm going back into like the whole 90s when we were skateboarders and we just didn't like the governments, because whatever happened to that? It was like I used to hang out with these punk rockers, and I used to be one, and like in a cult, and then we would just be like, I hate the government. And then how are you gonna go from like hating the government into like choosing a side, or like, I'm gonna vote for Bernie Sanders because he's gonna pay for college or something, or punks for Bernie Sanders? Because oh yeah, and then I know the episode turned into like more of what I think rather than what you guys like, what both sides need to come together to like have the mutual. I mean, you both have like mutual suffering, so you have a lot in common. And then I think I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, the last thing I want to say about like how Republicans and Democrats have a lot in common is like, here's a lot of stuff that pisses you off, but you can't like, when you die, who cares? Because I saw Republicans posting this and that, and then they died. Like, I can name 2 people in my mind right now. I'm not gonna say their names, but like my ex-girlfriend, we all went to Ozfest '99, and then she was like 14 at the time, but we went to Ozfest, and then later on she's on social media talking about like there are two genders and there are 40 different types of gay, and then she died, and then so when you die, like when you die, who gives a fuck if you're Democrat or I mean, when you die, who gives a goddamn if you're Democrat or Republican, because you're gonna go have to die and then go somewhere else or go to the next life, and then bring the afflictions with you to your next life. That's what I believe. So it's pretty much it, man. I hope the hard thing now is the inflation. Like you go to the supermarket and here's all the inflation going on, and we're gonna have to deal with it. So whatever happens, I hope the economy goes back to like where it was, because prices are kind of outrageous. And then I just want to say that. But every day there's something to be grateful for. So it's a blessing. Like as far as like where I'm at now, man, this is straight up blessing. So I know like whoever is president is it's not gonna like be the way I want, but um like I said, you have to endure it. And last thing I want to say is some recommendations. Uh, what is it? Kina Grannis. This is like the music recommendations. Kina Grannis. Sometimes I feel kind of gay or feel kind of fruity or something. I gotta listen to some pop music, or maybe like clean the bathroom and listen to Celine Dion. Like you never know like what's gonna happen. I mean, I'm more of like a complicated person to be. So the thing that sucks is like I gotta like live with myself, and I'm a complicated person to live with. So no wonder like I don't have a relationship right now. So you get where I'm coming from. And then the new Dying Fetus, go check them out. Make Them Beg for Death by a Dying Fetus. Definitely an exceptional album if you're a death metal fan, and if not, don't listen to it. And another thing I kind of slept on a band like Whitechapel. This Is Exile. That was I think the full length. And when they came out, I was into them a little bit, but I never sat down and listened to it. And then I got tired of hearing everybody like ranting and raving about them. And I saw them with my friend's band, and yeah, they actually listened to it, and very good. And Shabazz the Disciple, one of my favorite all-time rap songs now is Crime Saga by Shabazz the Disciple. If you don't know who he is, the first rapper from Diary of a Madman by Gravediggers, that was him. The one that was like, Buck, I'll give your ass the Holy Spirit. Like, he had some kind of like some religious references in there too, but like he actually wasn't satanic. He was actually like he would go into depth about the rap verses and like how he met Wu-Tang and Prince Paul. And I enjoyed an interview with him as well, like an interview in Brooklyn or something. And the movie that I watched, I haven't seen any new movies, but I watched Casino again. I haven't seen it in like 2 years or 3 years. And wow, man, Joe Pesci, he was like, you talk to me, you don't call me, and you don't fucking talk to me, I'll kill you. You get this through your head. Yeah, what an amazing performance. And Sharon Stone, sexy as hell, and Martin Scorsese, one of my favorite directors. And I think Casino, yeah, great film. I didn't even expect it to be as good, but forgot what I was gonna say about it. Yeah, definitely. I know everybody's seen it, man. I just watched it again, and I enjoyed the whole 3 hours of it. And he definitely did a good job of portraying Las Vegas, even though I didn't live there. But I heard they killed it with that one. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. So next episode is actually coming soon, because there's gonna be like a couple episodes. Had some suggestions from a friend, so I'm gonna be working on that. And thanks for listening. Check me out on I think some YouTube, but yeah, Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcast Index, and yeah, those are the ones. But I think the main one you're gonna go to is like Spotify, and we figure out how to put it on YouTube too. from RS. Yeah, shout out to RSS.com. And yeah, thanks for listening. So that's it. Thanks for listening to the political episode. There probably won't be another one of these for a while unless I have a guest and we get into more depth of conversation. Okay. All right. Peace out, everybody.